everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Name's Ndizi, where we talk about inspiration, motivation, and achievement. And today we're headed to Prague. I love travel, but my true passion really is to motivate and inspire people to become the best version of themselves. So in today's video, I'll walk you through a 3-day trip of what I did in Prague with me and my wife and a bunch of my friends. I'll recommend some really cool places for you to eat, places for you to go and enjoy yourself. And lastly, I talk about how embracing the unknown and persevering through uncomfortableness can really help you to enjoy any experience as much as you can. Before we kick it off, do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe. I drop weekly videos on motivation and inspiration. I just want to help people become the best version of themselves. Come along for the ride. And without further ado, let's get it. So we had an ultra early flight from Paris. We sat in the airport for quite a bit and then we eventually made our way to Prague. This was a big deal to me because I had never been to a European country this far east. I mean, you hear about France, you hear about the UK, you hear about Germany, but you gotta understand all of these countries are very, very different within their culture. But I feel like as an American, I can kind of almost understand Western Europe as opposed to Eastern Europe, at least from my opinion. What initially made me want to go is there's this guy, he has his YouTube channel called Honest Reviews. And he made Prague seem like so much fun, like such a good cheap destination to go to. I was very nervous initially just because this is an area I had never been in before and I just wanted to understand what the social norms were. I'm really big on social etiquette and understanding how people do things, and when you're in somebody else's country, I definitely truly believe in the phrase, when in Rome, be like the Romans. Now, that doesn't mean I necessarily abandon all my morals and values that I've developed. But what I am saying is that, you know, when you are in a different country, respect their culture and respect the way they do things. But my dilemma was, I don't know their cultural norms and I don't know how to be respectful in this culture. I give you an example. In Czech, to say thank you, it's děkuji, right? I would say it after every purchase, anytime I interacted with somebody, and they would kind of almost look at me silly sometimes. And I don't know, maybe because my face look a little weird, I don't know. Or maybe they just don't say you're welcome, I don't know. As a Southern boy, that's something pretty common, but that wasn't the case over here. We'll touch more on that later, but let's get back to the trip. So we couldn't initially check into our hotel. We arrived in Prague pretty early, and I think check-in was around maybe like 4 p.m. We had got in maybe about 11 or so. So me and my wife just decided to walk around and look for different restaurants and really just explore this new area that we had never been to before. After walking around for a little bit, we ended up going to the hotel, and man, it was super nice and it was super cheap. They actually ended up letting us check in a little early, and as you can see, this room was fantastic. So we had some friends come in town as well, and what we did is we ended up going to this really cool beer garden down by the water, and this was just what I needed. This was the first time I felt really comfortable. It was some familiarity. I had a lot of good friends around me, and I actually started to interact with a lot of the locals. And then eventually it started to get dark, and we ended up going around to this place called St. Charles Bridge. Again, just mobbing, moving around with some really good friends, exploring this town at night. The St. Charles Bridge is super old. I don't know exactly how old it is, but it's been there, I believe, way longer than what America ever existed for. Just like that, day one was over, but I felt so much more empowered because I kind of just continued to put myself out there. I know in life it can get really confusing sometimes, especially if you're going through something new, like you got a new job, maybe you're in a new relationship, maybe you're in a new city. I just highly encourage you to just push in and to persevere, because you never know what will happen. You have the option and the power to put yourself out there and to try to really see what this new situation has to hold for you. The point is if you don't persevere and you shut yourself off to new situations and new opportunities in life, you know exactly what you'll get. You can always try a new experience, and if you don't like it, you can always back out, but at least you tried. If you never try, you never know. of learning and wanting to explore Prague more, not wanting to just stay in my bubble, me and my wife actually signed up for a walking tour. The guy that was giving the tour actually was a professor at one of the schools in Prague, so he had a lot of historical information about Prague. But then he also was a local, so he knew all the best restaurants, all the best shops to go to get really good Czech food. And of course, I will go ahead and put those names on the screen so you can check it out for yourself. Walking through the town square was so beautiful. It was so clean and so well put together, but you knew that they took a conscious effort to preserve the true history in it. It's so tempting to sit right in the middle of the square and to want to grab a beer and grab some food, and you pay for it, right? Just walk a few streets away and I promise you'll pay the price that most locals will pay. If you're exchanging money, look up the place and look at the reviews on it. I cannot remember the exact names of the places that I actually went to, but if you look up the reviews, I promise you they'll have really good, reliable sources on where you need to go to exchange money. Never do it at the airport and never do it with somebody on the street. One cool thing that we saw was an astronomical clock in the middle of the Prague Square that was built in 1410. And check it. It still works today. At the top of the hour, there's a really cool show that you are gonna wanna see while you're there. The clock actually moves and there's a whole bunch of figures that come out at the top of the clock. Just make sure you get there a good amount of time before the show starts because it gets super packed. Once the tour ended, I wanted to get some food. There's this cafe we went to and the goulash was amazing. I loved it. It's a beef-based dish and you'll see there are some dumplings on the side. What you do is you take those dumplings and you dip it into that sauce. It is amazing. The southern boy in me wanted to add a little bit of Tony Saturates, but it was really good though. It didn't need it, but I can always take a little bit more flavor. And then obviously there's always room for dessert. There's this place a few blocks down called Creme de la Creme. It was probably the best ice cream I had. After dessert, we ended up going over to Prague Castle. We could not go in just because it was closed at the time, so I do have footage of that tomorrow. But we were able to look at the outside and really just look at the grounds around the castle, and the views were spectacular. We woke up the next day. This was our last day in Prague, so we made sure we wanted to see the castle. But before that, we ended up wanting to get breakfast. Again, this was another place that was recommended while we went on that tour yesterday. I highly recommend it. Everything was fantastic, very tasty, and I'll put the name of it on the screen so that way you can go ahead and check it out. After we finished, like I said, we had to see the castle because we didn't get a chance to see it yesterday because it was closed. Wow, this was breathtaking. Just check it out. And after the castle, we just again decided to walk around town a bit, but there were a few different bars next to the river that I heard were pretty cheap. A lot of locals go there. So a few friends went there, grabbed some beer, and ended up just chilling out with a lot of the locals and having a good time.
Timothy, it's time to take over.
All right, and then the next day really was just a travel day to Switzerland. Had to say bye to Prague and head to Switzerland. It was an amazing experience. I would 100% go back. I give Prague easily a 10 out of 10. It definitely started off a little rough, and had I not pushed myself to explore a bit more and to be comfortable being uncomfortable, I probably would have stayed in a hotel room quite a bit more, and I would have wasted an amazing experience. Now you get it. This is the part of the video where I provide a friendly challenge to you as a viewer on maybe something you can do that I incorporated while I was in this video. Today was all about perseverance and embracing the unknown. The new year's coming around. I want you to think about something that you can do, or a situation you can put yourself in rather, that's gonna challenge you to be uncomfortable. There's so much to gain from embracing difficult and unclear situations because it allows you to navigate heavier and heavier waters. But with those heavy and heavier waters, you have better and better goals and better achievement that you can obtain. Basically, you got to risk it for the biscuit. That could be trying a new career field. That could mean finally moving to a new city that you've been thinking about doing for a while. That could mean going for that promotion. Whatever it is, there's going to be some level of uncertainty and the unknown that might hold you back from not doing it. But if you never try, you always know what you'll get. You'll get the same results every time. So this next year, challenge yourself to step out and to put yourself in situations that will grow you as a person and teach you how to navigate in the muddy waters and the unknown. Let me know what you decide to do. For me this year, that might be having our first child. We'll see. Nothing's confirmed yet. But again, that will be an example of something that I have no idea on how I react to being a parent. But I know there's so much joy in being a parent, so let's go for it. Let's see what happens. That's all for this week. I truly appreciate you watching this video all the way to the end. Do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe. Again, I drop videos weekly on motivation, inspiration, and achievement. In the meantime, go ahead and watch this video. I'll put it up on the screen now. I basically went to Paris and I talk about how utilizing discipline, I was able to go to Paris and experience amazing things. All right, I see y'all. I'm out.